Hi guys, it's week 3 of our Dive In curriculum, and this week we are going to be talking about the temptation of Jesus and how we should be prepared for anything. The water connection is wear your life jacket because if you are in deep waters, you need help and support. And so we're talking about how even Jesus memorized scripture so that it's important to us. And to be honest, I have a hard time memorizing scripture the older I've gotten. And the most verses that I know are from when I was a child and when I was in things like Awana and at school when I had to memorize scripture. So it's so important for these kids to begin to memorize verses now. So for your first activity, you're going to have them take their Bible. Hopefully you're beginning to see some people bring their Bibles, but if not, they can still use the Bible card. They're going to look up Psalm 119:05. Psalm 119:105. And it says, "Your word is a lamp to my feet and a light for my path." So you're going to have them look it up, read it, and then use your Choose Your Own Adventure sheets from last week that are in your basket and talk through what does this verse mean exactly, and in context with the lesson that we're going to be talking about with the temptation of Jesus. Why is this important? Why is this verse important? And then you can play a game with them. You'll each have a ball, and you can throw or roll or whatever you want to do with them. And each child says a word of the verse as you roll it to them, then they toss it to someone else, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. This actually is a proven exercise to help kids study for different things. If you cross the midline of your body when you're doing the things, it actually helps you process even more. So for example, anytime you are tossing a ball back and forth across the midline, that helps the child. And so if they go like this to throw, so engage all of those different things with your kids because it actually helps them remember the scripture better. So that's one activity that you have. And then there are some discussion questions to walk through. And I know sometimes if you have younger kids, maybe you feel like, discussion questions aren't as engaging. But try to engage first with facts because first through third graders are very concrete thinkers. And then you can kind of engage with the why after the concrete. How many times was Jesus tempted? They can talk through that. And then, why do you think he was tempted? How are we tempted? You can further the question and try to engage them a little bit more. And some will do better than others. And then your other activity is a sink or float activity. So I do want you to do the Bible scripture memorization part first. Don't launch with your sink or float. It's a more fun activity just to re-emphasize what we're talking about. So I want you to get through the other things first. But you will have a pan. For today's sake, I just have a cup. But you will have a pan for your kids, and each kid can pick out an item. And you are going to talk through whether that item sinks or floats. Please go one at a time. I promise you that will be a better option for your group. And so they'll have different options. The straw, is it going to sink or is it going to float? It's going to sink. Oh, nope, it floated. A button, a rock. And so you'll have lots of different items. And so obviously they will be excited about this opportunity. Water is very exciting when we bring it in. So try to keep it as dry as possible for carpet's sake and for clothing's sake, but it is just water, so we won't fret over too much of that. But the idea is to just help them connect that whole idea of sinking or floating and why it's important to be prepared so that we don't sink, and how we can do that with scripture memorization. So that is it for this week. It is Memorial Day weekend, so I'm sure some of you have plans to be away this weekend. If you could communicate that to me as soon as possible, that would be great, so we can try and figure out and adjust those things. And I hope you are doing well, and I hope you're surviving this rainy, miserable weather as much as I am. I'm praying that it's going to be warm this weekend because the pool's open. All right, have a great day, and I will see you soon. Take care.